Mark, welcome to a new season of Technically Speaking.
Oh,
Where have you been? I've sure missed rolling with you on these things, Mark. What's going on? Is this season 3 already?
season 3. I am so happy to be back, Ned. Technically Speaking, back in the house. Gotta love it.
So, Mark, there's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's the concept of identity. So I know that this is an area that you think about a lot. I wonder if you could help shed some light on what's going on out there in the whole world of amazing innovation.
Well, no, I mean, you're bang on. This is top of mind for just about every company out there who does commerce via the internet, which I think now is every company out there. So if you have a digital service and you're trying to interact with it and get some sort of result, whether that's information, a transaction, you're going to have an identity, and you're going to have to be able to assert your identity. I am Ned Engelke. And now that I've made that assertion, I have to prove it. How do I prove that I, in fact, am Ned Engelke? And the way I do that is I hold up a photocopy of Ned's face and I say, that's me, that's Ned. Well, obviously that's a pretty cruddy way of doing things. So there have been different schemes developed to go ahead and look at that assertion and look at the proof of the assertion. And so if we take a look at that process of verifying an identity, it has to be convenient. I, as the user, have to be able to do it relatively easily. The other thing it has to be private. If I'm asserting my identity, there can't be other people on the internet snooping in and going, oh my gosh, look at that. That's his social security number. It has to be secure. And this is more than just privacy. That level of security, that's big mojo right now. A lot of products.
When you described all those approaches and thoughts, in many ways, they made me think that we had to also incorporate now, as the person using these systems, an element of trust. When we think about the examples we used before, like we're using two-factor authentication, but I use a phone that has facial ID to do one part of that. But if I do it with my bank, there are a few other steps that they go through. Do they know your IP address? Is your facial identity correct? Whatever else. And so, but we end up with this fundamental trust in the middle of those transactions. But what happens when we need to expand this notion of identity? Does it have to go through one place that we trust, or is there some way to do it in a more broad way?
Well, what a straight man, right? The answer is both. Today we have primarily centralized identity. So using username and passwords, which I think everyone's most familiar with, I will have a whole bunch of users and user names in there. I'll have those associated with an account number or something like that. So I've got all these users, and then I've got all these passwords. What I'm going to do is I'm going to encrypt the passwords and store a bunch of encrypted passwords. So you assert that you're Ned Engelke. I go and take a look at it and I say, please give me your password. When you type your password, that password gets encrypted and the spaghetti from that gets handed over. I compare the spaghetti you sent me against the spaghetti in the database, and I go, yes, indeed, it is Ned Engelke. Wait a minute, that's Mark Campbell with a photocopy of Ned Engelke's face. That's not going to work. So this centralized repository of IDs is the common way things are done right now. There is an alternative from a centralized identity, and that's decentralized identity.